right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Socially Connected 360, number 27 is finally here. We have someone on our show today who I'm looking forward to talk to. We have some stuff in common: boxing, coaching, community, law enforcement. I mean, you name it, we're going to talk about it. Catarina Lentini, up next.
This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Socially Connected 360, number 27 is in the house. I got my good friend, Catarina Lentini, a boxing coach, community leader. I mean, we have so many things in common. Like I said earlier in the pre-show, I mean, there's so many things in common. How you doing, Catarina? How's everything going?
I'm good. Everything is good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know we saw each other the other day at the elementary school, and it was one of those things where it was like right time, perfect timing. We were there to help kids out. We were trying to motivate the kids in our law enforcement or in our our careers. And then boom, we talked about doing the show, and here we are. So I'm happy to be here. So tell us about Catarina Lentini. Tell us about, I mean, I know about you. I met you in the police academy. I knew you were a boxer. Then I looked you up and I'm like, man, she's on fire like this. I don't want to mess with this. And I love boxing. Everybody knows that. So tell us about Catarina Lentini, man. Life growing up, all that stuff.
You got it. Well, Catarina Lentini. I was born in Allentown, raised in Whitehall, graduated from Whitehall High School. Life growing up wasn't always easy. I had it a little rough up until about 10 years old. They used to call me short fuse. So in middle and high school was a little rough. But I found boxing, which saved my life for sure. For sure. And then now I'm done competing for now. And I have been giving my knowledge to those that want to train.
So I don't know, man. It's like you're my sister or something, because
I think you're my brother. Absolutely.
I grew up in Allentown, came from beginnings. I love boxing. My brother actually boxed a little bit. My dad was a big boxer in Puerto Rico, and I love boxing. Like, I watched the fights this weekend and last weekend, and of course I pay attention to all the things going on. But tell us, how did you get into boxing? I know you mentioned a little bit, maybe some hard times, but take us to that story. Take us to that time where it's like, how do you end up with these gloves on? How do you end up in the ring?
You got it. Well, growing up wasn't easy, like I said, and I had a lot of pent up anger. So I needed to channel the anger into something positive. So I walked into the first gym, which was Ishinryu Karate. Back then it was in Catasauqua. And I walked in, I spoke to a man named Christian Corley. And I asked him, I said, I want to learn how to fight. I want to box. And he said, well, why not kickboxing? I said, well, why not? Let's go. So I literally was there every day, all day. Anytime, any chance I got, that was where I was. And it made me feel better. It mentally put me where I needed to be, taught me discipline, made me strong inside and out. And it saved my life.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, like, it's just like playing basketball or doing another sport, or for instance, I love cycling, running, and things like that. These things that occupy yourself and allow you to let go of some of the struggles that you're going through, mentally. And so, I tell folks all the time, find something that is physical in that aspect, because you're able to let go of a lot. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that when you hit that, you hit those bags and you were working it and doing all the things, I guarantee you were letting go of a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely. It channeled my energy into something positive, and it kept me from getting in trouble. Absolutely, 1000%.
Yeah. So tell us about your best boxing moment as a fighter.
Best boxing moment that gives me chills even to this day. My mom, my mother, God rest her soul, she never wanted to watch me box because she didn't want to see me get hurt.
Hmm.
But I used to beg her, beg her, beg her. I'm like, Mom, please come, please come, please come. So my first couple fights she didn't come to, but I was starting to win. And it was the Golden Gloves for Pennsylvania State. And I fought in Reading.
Mm.
And she told me she couldn't make it, so I was a little bummed out. But I was warming up right before I went out to the ring and I looked up and I saw her.
Oh my God.
And oh my God, my heart, I remember I was like tearing, my eyes got watery and I was just, it gave me the only strength to go out and really, really, accomplish what I came there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
my best moment. Absolutely.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, and again, these are the small victories that we have. People think, you get into boxing or you get into any sport, anything in life, and you try to reach the pinnacle. And sometimes you're not going to reach the pinnacle, but you kind of do. That's a pinnacle moment. That's a moment that could top a lot of moments, even being WBC, IBF, unified, whatever, 4 title, holder, but to have your mom there, I guarantee that's top line. So best moment as a coach. I know that I've watched some of your videos. I'm loving everything I'm seeing. I'm loving the slipping. I'm loving the mitt work, and then slipping through, and these kids are working through the mitts. So tell us your best moment as a coach.
My best, I would say, moments as a coach is that when I teach and they execute what I've taught them, or they hear my voice and they listen and they exceed, they do what I'm telling them to do and they accomplish.
Mm.
That is my favorite moment.
Mm.
Or after a session, how good they feel after. Makes me feel good as a coach.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I worked the bag a little bit. I know you saw a little bit of the hands, I'm hands-handed. I'm like Romero, I come from the wide angles. But yeah, it's a great feeling. That's, and again, that's what life is about, right? So we talk about it all the time. You as a coach, you're touching so many lives, that you geared your way into this love of this passion for boxing, and you haven't let it go, even if you're not the fighter, right? You're the coach.
Right.
And so kids need people like you, they need, good role models and people they can look up to. And I'm sure they come to you with other issues and get an advice and, hey, this is what's going on. This is in my life. And you're able to guide them in that aspect as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So training to win, right? This is a question that I, kind of was interested because I consider myself an athlete in that, of course I played basketball in high school. I played a lot of sports, cycling, running, I mean, you name it. But training to win or training to get better, what are your thoughts on that?
I say both, because you have to train to get better and you want to train to win. What feels better than training so hard and, feeling victory? Victory. I mean, even if you do lose, you take something with that. You make yourself better by, okay, you watch your video, you see what your mistakes was, and you change it.
Yeah.
So I say both. I mean, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think about this question because people kind of know this about me, but I competed in bodybuilding. What happened?
Okay. All right. What haven't you done?
No. God rest his soul, Jim Stanko. I know we talked about him a little bit. That's one of the things that him and I, God bless him, man. He's such a great. I just saw his wife and the kids over at the event in Whitehall. But yeah, so that's one of the things him and I had in common. And we would always talk about bodybuilding. He did it for about 5 years. I did it for about 5 years. I was in my early to mid 20s. I did about 15 shows. And in the beginning, the reason I asked that question is because in the beginning, I didn't train to win. I trained to train, and then this is what happens. So my 5th show, I'm about a year into this. My 5th year. I'm taking this very serious now. I'm going on all the forums. You know, we didn't have Facebook and all that other stuff. We had forums. So, you know, as you know, we had forums that we would go on, the bodybuilding forums, right? And on Yahoo or whatever. And so I would ask all the questions. I would get all the meal plans, nutrition. I would try to break this down. And I got to the point where I got so good in the amateurs that, you know, I was doing mid-level shows, and I went into a show and I said, I'm going to win this show. Like I'm training to win this show. Like I knew that I was going to train to win that show. And it changed my whole entire perspective on training, because now I'm not just training to train. I'm not just training to just be at the show. I'm training because I know who's going to be at the show. I know who the players are, and I know what I have to do to get my body in the shape that needs to be to win the overall title.
Yeah.
Right. For that.
It pushed you.
Oh my God. And then it was a show that I did the year prior, one of my very first shows. And so, you know, of course we get there. It's probably similar to boxing, and you get there, everybody's sizing each other up like, oh, how did he get better? How hard did they go in the gym? Did they do everything they're supposed to? And so, and bodybuilding is the same thing, right? Oh, and you have your hoodie on, you have your clothes, everybody can't really see you. And then once I took the hoodie off and they saw the striations, they were like, oh man, this guy's coming. Like he's ready. You know, this is a year later. And let me tell you, I went on that stage. I won my, I think it was like short. I was in the short section. They're short, medium, tall. They do them by weight or height, whatever. And so I win mine, and then I go to the overall, which you have to face the other 3. And so what happened was I'm in the overall, and I'm thinking, I got this, you know, I got this. But in my mind, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know, man, this is my first time ever going to the overall. And when they called my name, last, because if you win, you call your name last, obviously. And then my name at the time, you know, my middle name is Danny. I would go by Danny Garcia. Right. And when they said Danny Garcia, man, let me tell you, I was on fire. I was like,
absolutely.
After that win, and I'm going to ask you that question too. After that win, I felt like I wanted that feeling again. How did you feel in boxing when you got your first win? And like, I know how I felt, but I want to see how you felt like after that first victory. What did it do for you?
I remember jumping in the middle of the ring. I remember coming off of my feet and jumping in the middle of the ring when they raised my arm. I was, oh my God, the best feeling in the world.
What did it do for your training though? Did it excel? Like, did you like, I got to get that back. I got to get that win.
Absolutely. I was right back in the gym.
Yeah.
Right back in the gym. Next day, boom. Let's do it again.
Yeah. I was,
because we chase that feeling, you know, we chase it. Yeah. It's a great feeling to have.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing. So with that being said, you know, let's go to the basic questions, right? So how many times a week do you think a boxer should train? Is that an everyday thing, or is that something that needs to be structured in a certain way? As you as a coach, and I want to be your student, how do we approach that? The training?
Well, it depends on what my student wants to accomplish. Does my student want to fight? Does my student want to get in shape? Does my student want to just get rid of anxiety? You know, it depends on the goal of the person that I'm training. If it's a person that's fighting, I absolutely say 6 days a week, you know, 1 day rest. Yeah. But also you always have to listen to your body too, of course. Yeah. You know, but you know, as a boxing lover, how many aspects come with competing? You know, you have to run, you have to jump rope, you have to hit the bag, you have to spar 1,000,000 times, you have to do so many things. In order to perfect it, you need that time in the gym. Absolutely.
Yeah, touche.
You have to perfect it.
Yeah, you got to work on your footwork. You got to be able to work on your defense. I mean, you got to train when people sleep. I tell our young fighters here, man, all the time, you know, I send them the messages because I'm a motivator. And I'm like, man, you got to you when they sleep. So you know, just curious because I want to see if it's similar to, you know, the things that like right now I have a possible race on Saturday. It's going to rain. So I don't like riding my bike in the rain, but they will race in the rain. But I structure my week to that. So, you know, there's no drinking, obviously, no eating crazy. There's interval training. There's a day off. There's moderate training. So everything is structured. I'm pretty sure boxing is very similar. right? Leading up
Same
to the fight.
thing. And if you hate riding in the rain, guess what? You better ride in the rain.
No, no, no. It's not about that. It's more about my bike is very expensive. And if I fall, I am losing that bike. And I built that
Oh,
bike.
you're not gonna fall. That's it.
Yeah,
Mind
okay.
frame.
I don't
Not
know.
gonna
You're going
fall.
24 miles an hour into a corner and you got people next to you like this, and you're like, I don't know if I
You
want to
gotta
lose that
take,
money.
you gotta be the one that's gonna take over that whole lane. That's it.
Ooh, oh man. So you try to build me into like pound for pound cyclist,
That's right. They better get out the way.
We'll see about that. We'll get more experience and then we'll see. But either way, I train every week anyway, so it doesn't matter. So if somebody wants to get into boxing, right?
Yeah.
Obviously we know that the younger that you are, that could be beneficial. It could also be not beneficial, I guess. But if somebody wants to get into boxing, they're a young kid, maybe elementary school, middle school. What is the advice that Coach Lentini is going to give, or what are the questions you're going to ask? What advice,
First thing I would say, for the parent, getting a young child to start boxing, you need to have a coach that cares, because safety is number one. Absolutely. You don't want, anyone to get hurt under your supervision or under your care. It's number one, someone that actually cares about you and that's going to teach you where you're not going to get hurt. They're going to give you all the tools where you're always going to be ready. And you'll be there to remind them when they forget.
Nice. And I didn't think of that. I didn't think about that. It's obviously a lot of times, you get into stuff and you're just like, some people have some personal interests, but the fact that you just start bringing up the parents, you start bringing up the, obviously taking care of your fighters, taking care of your students, that's huge. That's huge. So let's get into some of the where this is a boxing podcast today.
Right.
So obviously you train folks. I'm going to see you this probably this weekend or next weekend. You can't really.
That's right.
To get into the gym and get some good footage on your work that you're doing, so we can show the folks, obviously on this podcast, all the great work you're doing. What are your thoughts on Kambosos and since this is a boxing podcast, by the way, Kambosos and Haney? What are your thoughts? I had to put this in here because obviously you're a boxing, you're boxing coach and you're a fighter and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on that? Did you get the chance to look at some of the highlights? Did you watch?
I did. I watched the entire fight for sure. And I thought Haney did fantastic. I thought his footwork was on point. I thought his jab was fantastic and would go to his weaker side every time and saw where his weaknesses were and took advantage of it every time.
Yeah.
I thought he did great.
Yeah.
I think Haney really, really utilized his jab. Absolutely. That was one of his best punches throughout the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? He's this I'm calling it right now. He's this generation's Mayweather. I'm not saying he reached that. Mayweather fought a lot of good fighters, and people can say everything they want. I'm not a Mayweather fan, right. but you look at his box rec, you look at his record. I mean, the guy's fought guys, and I mean Canelo. You're talking Cotto. You're talking Pacquiao. You're talking Diego Corrales. I mean, you're talking just deep. Fight Mosley. I mean, Zab Judah. He's fought all these guys. De La Hoya. So I could see Haney being this generation's. Now, whether that's a good thing, I don't know. Depends what type of fight you want to watch.
For sure. Hey, as long as you are safe in the fight and you are winning, doesn't matter how you win. A win's a win.
Yeah. I mean, and Kambosos, man, class act. Did you hear what he said at the end? Just a phenomenal way to go out.
For sure.
Just to say, this is his time. He's the champ now. He outworked me, and it is what it is. Now, I will say this, because if Teo would have just boxed Kambosos, I think Teofimo wins that fight, right? He didn't take any, he took too many chances, right? He wanted to see if he could knock this guy out. And Haney didn't do that.
Right.
Haney didn't take the chances. Haney boxed.
Well, being patient is, being clear-headed and patient is one of the number one keys in boxing, especially at that level. Yeah. You can't just take risks like that, because that could be the end of your record.
Yeah. So what about you? What is your style like? Are you like a Miguel Cotto? Are you like Cambosos?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit of everything. It depends
Ah,
on who I'm fighting.
oh yeah, yeah.
It
Are you
depends on the
southpaw?
shots
Or
that I
are
see.
you orthodox?
I'm orthodox, but I
Okay,
can
okay,
switch if needed.
okay.
I love to inside fight. That is my comfort zone, but I also can box.
Mm,
Bounce on my toes, movement, counter punches. But I love to inside fight. So
mm.
I would say I'm a little bit of Tyson.
Did you see the ladies fight last week or a couple weeks ago?
Katie
Oh,
Taylor and
oh
the
my
girl from Brooklyn,
God.
Serrano.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
What are your thoughts on that
Both of
one?
my idols. I love them both so much.
I'm gonna
So
give you
much.
my thoughts on that, but I want to hear your thoughts before I give you my take.
My thoughts, I mean, that was one of the best women fights that I've seen in a very,
Yeah,
very long time. And I think they both gave it their all
yeah,
right there in that ring. And they sold out Madison Square Garden, two women. That's unheard of,
yeah,
so they really put women's boxing on the map.
yeah. I will
And
say this. Yeah, I will say this. Serrano won that
yeah,
fight, but hey, no, and I'm not
it
being
was a good
biased.
fight. It
Yeah,
was a good fight. It was a
yeah,
good fight. I watched it over and over and over again.
yeah.
And it was such a good fight. Serrano definitely had some really, really great moments.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not the judges,
Yeah,
I hope they
yeah,
fight again. I mean, Serrano's a tough woman,
yeah, yeah.
tough, tough.
Both of them. I mean, it was a great
For
moment for
sure. I
boxing.
mean,
It was a
Katie
great
was
moment.
almost knocked out on her feet,
Yeah, yeah,
and still
yeah.
was fighting through that. Almost
Yeah.
like remember oh my God, what's his name?
I felt bad for her for a second when I
Me
saw that
too.
because
Me
when you're out on
too.
your feet like that and she's still going, you could tell she was just that fighting spirit within her did not want to give up.
I mean,
Yeah,
Irish,
yeah,
they
very
are
tough.
tough as nails. And she has been boxing from a little girl.
Yeah, yeah, she's
Yeah.
icon. Both of them icon living. All right, so real quick, we got a couple more questions. Tank versus Rolly. I gotta ask you this because my man Rolly's just he's over here talking about he won every round. He won every round. And
Oh Lord.
what are your thoughts on that fight?
Rolly is comical. I mean, for sure. I think he is, going for the gimmick and trying to
Yeah.
promote himself that way.
Mhm.
I mean, Tank outclassed him. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Tank, he could have knocked him out way earlier, but gave him the courtesy of the sixth round. That's what I think.
Yeah. So you told me a cool story about Tank, right?
Yeah.
You said that you met a Tank. Tell us
Hmm.
about that, man. How was that? That was in the beginning though? That was when he wasn't, obviously the big star right now. I mean, he was kind of a
Right.
star.
Right. No, he was up and coming. Before a tournament, because I was striving to do the Olympics in 2016.
Mm.
So my mom, the best woman that she is, she sent me to Washington, D.C., Bald
Oh,
Eagle Recreational Center, training with Patrice Harris and Barry Hunt, same place where Tank trains.
awesome.
And that's where I got to meet a lot of different fighters and spar with them and train side by side with them, run with them. And I mean, Tank's phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
the Lamont brothers, Lamont Peterson,
Yeah,
Anthony
Peterson.
Peterson,
Yeah.
Tiara
Phenomenal fighter.
Brown was my right hand girl sparring. So I got the opportunity every time to go down there and train.
That's awesome, man.
Great
Uh,
experience.
yeah, and again, like this is what I tell folks. You get involved in this thing, you get involved in this world, right? Any world you get in. Like right now, like I said, I'm in cycling. I'm in this world, and I'm meeting all these cyclists that are just phenomenal, phenomenal. They're
Yeah,
phenomenal. And the same thing with boxing. You get into the boxing world, you get into basketball, you're gonna go places. Even if you're gonna go and just be part of it, right? You don't have to be
yeah.
the superstar, but that's awesome. That's awesome. What do you think's next? Do you think Tank fights Haney?
I think it's a great possibility.
Hmm.
I think it's a great possibility. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if Haney's probably gonna go up in weight, right? Is Tank going up in weight too? Who knows?
I mean, Tank goes up and down all the time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think wherever, the contract and the money is where it's going to be.
Hmm.
Let's be real, professionals, they go where the entertainment is. And
Yeah.
amateurs is, we're fighting to win. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's a different realm.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many matchups now. You got still have Ryan Garcia talking a lot and all these other people. And And so we'll see what happens. And then you have Lomachenko just waiting. You know,
Right.
he's waiting. And he's dangerous. And Teofimo's still
Very.
dangerous, all those guys. But
Oh,
anyhow,
yeah.
listen, real quick. What's next for you as far as, you know, are you have some golden gloves coming up for some of your fighters? Are they getting involved in some boxing coming up? Anything like that we need to know about, or we're just training? Or
Absolutely. I have two young kids. One is named Smoke, which is
damn, smoke.
Oquendo, and from Showstoppers,
Okay.
and also Sabiel Torres, which that's Pretty Boy Torres is what he goes by. And they're going to the Junior Olympics actually in July 9th, they're leaving. And
Nice.
they're, yes, so they're getting ready. I'm helping them out by getting them ready also with the mitt work, the defense work, and just having a move, having them always ready.
Yeah.
So that's the next big thing for my kids.
That's awesome, man.
They're great kids. One is 12 and one's 13.
Awesome.
Yes.
And so Junior Olympics. So where's that going to be at?
That is gonna be, I forgot the state that it's gonna be in, but they are leaving July 9th and it's gonna be for a week.
Okay.
Their father is going. Also my coach, David Hamilton, he's going also.
Mm,
And they're gonna be traveling out there. I can't make it, unfortunately, because I
yeah.
work.
Yeah. Work.
But
Work.
I'm very excited for these kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, again, but you get them ready. Get them ready. They'll be thinking about you. I'm pretty sure they're gonna go
Oh, for
do the
sure.
videos. So yeah, we'll get up with you. We'll get some good footage of them working out, and we'll help you out with that. So what was your nickname? Did you have a nickname?
I had many nicknames. I was, oh my God, in DC they used to call me the White Black Stallion.
Oh wow, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, I was called T-Rex for my short arms.
Okay.
Cat for short.
Okay.
The Beast. Everyone would call me a little bit of everything.
Oh wow. Yeah, I love the promo picture. Everybody's gonna love that, man. You just look like you're ready, like you just like it's awesome. So that's great. So let me ask you this question. I asked all my guests one piece of advice that you would give your 19-year-old self, everything you know now. You can go back and tell your 19-year-old self some advice about life. What would it be?
I would absolutely say, listen to the one that cares about you the most, whether that's your mother, whether that's your father, best friend, aunt, uncle, whoever that really loves you. Listen to what they say. And the best saying that I've ever heard is, when there's a will, there's a way. Always strive and never give up.
Hmm. Hmm. There it is, folks. Like I said, there's a 19-year-old Catalina?
Catarina.
Catarina Lentini out there that needed to hear that. Okay. Because a lot of times we get caught up, especially as young folks. At 19, I struggled a lot. That's why I asked that question. I failed
Right.
twice in high school. It was very, very hard for me. But there's a young Lentini out there that needs to hear that. You know,
Absolutely.
you need to love the people that love you and they really care for you. You know, I met a young lady the other day, and her mom stopped me on the street. You know, we're public servants, right? So I'm working,
Right.
I'm doing my thing, and you know, they're having some struggles, right, back and forth. The young girl, she's in her teens, and I told her, I said, you know, the only reason your mom stopped me is because she loves you. Because if she didn't care about you running away, if she didn't care about you doing whatever with whoever, then she doesn't stop me. She just lets you go. But she doesn't want to lose you, you know? So there's a young Lentini out there that needed to hear that. It's phenomenal. That's why I always ask that question. Thank you so much for that. So if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, somebody wanted to reach out and say, hey, I need a coach. I want to get involved. I want to do Junior Olympics. I want to, you know, do some sessions. Where would they go? Or how would they reach you?
Absolutely. They can reach me through Facebook. My name, Catarina, Catarina. My last name, Lentini, Lentini. Also on my Instagram, same thing.
Awesome.
So DM me, let me know. I want to change people's lives.
Awesome. Awesome. And the gym that you're training at now, or that you're helping?
That is, yeah, Showstoppers. That's 1901 South 12th Street in Allentown, second floor.
Awesome. Awesome. I've been there before. I mean, it's been there for years, but man, perfect spot. Nice, quiet, South 12th Street, downtown. We're going to have everything in the description. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, it's an honor to have you on. I'm definitely not going to spar you. I'm just going to go there to get video. But definitely, if anybody needs a coach or if somebody wants to get involved in boxing, definitely send them your way. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. Thank you.
That's right, folks. We have all types of folks on this SC360, and we're excited to bring you more folks in the future. Thank you, Coach. We'll see you in the ring.
Thank you.
All right. Be safe. Stay connected, everybody.